All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Carrie again. So today we're gonna have a little more fun. I need to get back to some fun topics again. So we're gonna go and revisit the first time I was kind of on a motorcycle, I guess you could say, or at least learned how to drive one. So um, that's where we're at. Anyway, it was exciting. Um, when I was about 18 years old, I had this friend that I knew from a neighboring city, and we were really close friends, and he introduced me to one of his friends. He had a motorcycle. His friend also had a motorcycle, and anyone who's watched some of my previous videos by this time knows he was an Asian boy. And me and this Asian boy got really close and ended up, there was this strip to drive down that most of the underage, you had to be 21 to drink. Most of the underage kids would drive up and down the strip in their cars or motorcycles, and then we'd convene in like grocery store parking lots and have these conversations. Well, that's kind of where I had met, these two boys, and I also knew the friend of mine. I knew his girlfriend really well, so I would often ride on the back of the Asian boy's motorcycle, and me and him got really close, kind of boyfriend girlfriendy. Um, Unfortunately, nothing worked out with that because he was already promised in marriage to somebody, which I didn't know when I met him, and I didn't understand the culture that they still did that and stuff. But apparently, they did back in the 70s. I don't know if they still do now. I'd love to know, but anyway, it's okay. That didn't work out. But me and this other girl, my friend's girlfriend, we wanted to learn how to drive the motorcycles. So the boys ended up taking us to this empty mall parking lot in the middle of the night, and I thought for sure the police are going to come. We're busted, but they never did. And they got us on their bikes, showed us how everything worked, and then had us go around this empty parking lot. And it was okay till we had to stop. It's like, how do how do I get this thing to stop? Which was the freaky part. But it was really cool to learn how to ride it. Now, my friend and his girlfriend had what you would call a conventional motorcycle. I think it was like a Kawasaki or something like that. But um, what you picture a regular motorcycle. The Asian boy, of course, the one that I was learning how to drive was what you would call a crotch rocket. Okay. So it's where you lean forward into the bike, which was still pretty cool to learn, how to drive that and everything, and because there is a little bit of a difference. But we were having a great time that night. Everything was going good. Us girls really got the hang of driving the motorcycle. The boys never got on the back, by the way. They're like, oh no, not getting on that. I was surprised that they allowed us to drive their bikes. These were nice bikes. These weren't, just cheap El Cheapo bikes. But apparently they were brave enough and nice enough to teach us and let us drive their bikes. So I had the time of my life that night. I'll never forget it. And at that point, I was like, oh, I want a motorcycle so bad. I never did get one. But, that was when I fell in love with motorcycles. As I loved the the freedom of it. And I became a snowmobiler later in life, and I can relate that a little bit to driving a motorcycle. I love driving my snowmobile. So that ended up becoming my passion. But it was like I lived about a 20-minute drive at regular speed away from where we were at. I had to be home, and I think it was midnight or something like that. And I knew, the rules in our house, and I was in big trouble if I wasn't. We had about 12 minutes before my curfew. And I was like, I'm going to be late. There's no way we're making it in 12 minutes. And see, they had picked me up at my house on his motorcycle. So they had to take me back. And I was like, we're going to be late. And the guy who I would call my boyfriend, the Asian at the time, said, no, you won't. Just so confidently. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. And he goes, no, just get on. So I got on. And him and my friend, they just kind of looked at each other, big old smiles on their faces, like this was the moment they had been waiting for forever, you know. And there's something about motorcycles and just being free on them. Um, in the wind. That is a really beautiful thing. But when we got out of town onto the highway to take me home, that's when freedom turned into terror for me. Okay. They picked up the speed so fast. All I could do is I just put my arms around him. And of course, we're leaning forward because we're on this crotch rocket. And I put my arms around him, buried my face into his back because they were going so fast. We had to be going over 100 miles an hour. Middle of the night, there's deer in these areas. There's curves in this highway, that I know very well. And so I knew where we were at when we'd hit, and I could feel him going into a curve, how close we were to my home. We made it home in time. They did do it in the 12 minutes, probably 11 minutes by the time we left, actually. And they had to drive the speed limit to get out of town first because they weren't going to take the risk with the cops. But we made it, no deer. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at the same time. I can't explain it, how excited I was when we got to my home. Not like excited to be home, excited like I can't believe we just did that. That was like so cool. So my need for speed was just like all of a sudden implanted in me, like kind of a rebel without a cause at that moment. I mean, so I understand that feeling for sure because I did get to live it. I was in complete terror though during the episode. As you can imagine, I always drove the speed limit. I was always the goody two shoes, trying to do everything right kind of girl. And this was way out of my realm, but it was like all of a sudden taking a step on that wild side and being like, oh, this is awesome. I loved it. Would I do it again? No, not really. I would prefer not to ever do it again. I'm a lot older and wiser now, and would probably have taken the punishment versus doing that again. But primarily so, I've steered away from motorcycles completely. I used to be a huge motorcycle enthusiast. I actually preferred to date men that had motorcycles because I loved, riding on the back of a motorcycle. I never really felt the need to get my motorcycle license and drive one, but liked, the feeling of being on a motorcycle with a man. However, years later, about 15 years after that happened, I did get involved with some bikers, and one biker in particular who was my absolute best friend in the world, would have trusted him with my life. Something really bad happened, and I don't blame all bikers. I don't think it really has anything to do with a motorcycle, so to speak. But I steered away. I I now know a different side to that life that I don't want to be involved in. I, unfortunately, probably will never get on another motorcycle again, um, because of what ended up happening to me. And there's a video coming up probably in the next week or two on that. I believe that's when I'll probably release it. But it was pretty devastating. And from that moment on, I've kind of always looked at now being with a biker is not scary because I don't really fear much at all. Just wiser, I guess, and less trusting, much less trusting to bikers. And so I just don't care to get on a motorcycle because when you're on the back of a motorcycle, there's a level of trust you have in that driver. And if I can't trust a biker, I can't trust their driving me anywhere either. I know I've got an issue and I got to get over it. Okay, I will. I'll get there in time. But this didn't happen all that long ago to the point where I've met or been on a motor. I think it's going to take me getting on a motorcycle again to truly get rid of that feeling that I have inside of I don't even know. It's not fear. It's not anger. It's just, nah, I'll just stay away from it. Don't care about it anymore, kind of thing. But to get that zest of that spiritual freedom that you get on a motorcycle, to get that back again, zeal, it would take me getting on another bike, but it would also take me really knowing the biker very, very well and developing a major trust level. I don't know if that can be done again. I don't know if what this person did has ruined that forever for me. Um, Not that it would probably be that great of a loss, so I'm totally fine without it. It's okay. But it, it's changed me. I don't know for the better. I don't know for the worse necessarily. I guess I haven't put that much deep contemplation into it. But it's going to be a shorter video today. That was the gist of it. At one time I did learn how to drive a motorcycle. One time I was on the back of a motorcycle going probably well over 100 miles an hour, which I can still feel it. I can still feel it. When you've experienced something like that, that speed, that adventure, that danger, and you've survived it, you don't forget it. You don't forget it. And thank God nothing bad happened, because a million different things could have happened. But God let me experience that for a reason. And then again, it might have been because some of this biker stuff that happened later in life needed to happen, and some great lessons did come out of it. So, had that not had happened, I wouldn't have been so interested in bikers and motorcycles. So everything happens for a reason. It just does. And maybe I'm never supposed to be on a motorcycle again. I don't know. We'll find out. But anyway, I do have a Bible phrase for today. And it's getting a little dark, so I've got my handy dandy flashlight to try to read this, I guess. So here comes spooky again. Hey, it's October. We can be as spooky as we want now. Anyway, it's from Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 11. And it says, and again, oh, let me start over. Okay, so Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11. Now, mind you, keep in mind, that's like 911, right? So I found this very intriguing for a chapter 9, verse 11. I again saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, and the battle is not to the warriors, and neither is bread to the wise, nor wealth to the discerning, nor favor to the men of ability, for time and chance overtake them all. I thought that was really wise and interesting. I again saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, which is kind of the racing on the motorcycle that drew me in, and the battle is not to the warriors. And if you saw my warrior video from yesterday, you kind of get that. And neither is bread to the wise, and nor wealth to the discerning, nor favor to the men of ability. The time and chance overtake them all. It truly is. Time was a factor in my situation. Chance was a huge factor in my situation. And that is truly where we put our faith. But don't forget, hope is found in Christ as your Savior. Please give it a chance. Read the Bible. Let me know what you thought of it. I think it's a great book. I love it. I can't get enough of it. But anyway, to any of you motorcyclists that think you can sway me back on a motorcycle, let me know. I might be up for a short ride at slow speeds. We'll see. I don't know. It might be time to break out of that box. But I'm not going to go buy a motorcycle and learn how to drive it to do that. So we'll see. Anyway, love you all. Be kind. Like I try to always say, but I know I haven't said it in a really long time. Own the truth before the truth owns you. I love you all. All right. Bye.